And so without any further ado, we're going to get started here with Arden Moore, and we're going to be talking about what's eating you, cat. Arden's mission is to bring out the best in pets and their people. Known as America's pet health and safety coach, Arden happily wears many collars in the pet world. She hosts 2 weekly shows, the award-winning Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio, ranked as the longest continuous pet podcast on the air since 2007. More than 500,000 tune in each week as she interviews pet championing celebrities. I am sorry, it's the end of the day, slipperies here. As she interviews pet championing celebrities, leaders in the pet industry, and ordinary people doing extraordinary things for pets. And she hosts the Arden Moore's Four-Legged Life show, airing on radio stations coast to coast, plus streaming and airing on YouTube. And for more, look at Four-Legged Life. And I believe that is the YouTube channel that you are striving to get to 1,000 subscribers on. So we want to make sure we do that. Her major focus is to educate and inspire two-leggers on ways to keep cats and dogs healthy and happy. She accomplishes this as an in-demand speaker, Fear-Free Pets certified professional, and master certified pet first aid CPR instructor, as founder of Pet First Aid for You, and as director of education for Pro Pet Hero. Arden teams up with pet safety cat Casey, right there, waving to the crowd, and pet safety dog Kona to teach veterinarian approved pet first aid classes in person and live, interactive via Zoom. She makes learning fun and practical and has drawn students from all over North America, as well as Europe, Central America, and yes, even South Africa. This best-selling author has written more than 24 cat and dog books. She wrote and published 4 books in the past 2 years: the Cat Behavior Answer Book, the Dog Behavior Answer Book, A Kid's Guide to Cats, and A Kid's Guide to Dogs, from Story Publishing. The kid books earn top writing honors in the children's book categories from the Cat Writers Association and the Dog Writers Association of America. She's also a columnist and feature writer for Catster Magazine, Vet Scoop, and Fear Free Happy Pets. She's the former editor of Catnip Magazine, a national monthly magazine published by Tufts University. Arden shares her home in Dallas, Texas, with the furry Brady Bunch. That includes 4 cats and 2 feline adoring dogs. She has been a feline advocate since childhood, when her first cat, Corky, happily swam with her into the backyard lake. And Arden has her own website. To learn more, go to ardenmoore.com. And Arden, you can leave your camera on, you can turn it off, whatever you would like to do.
You ready to have some fun and learn, everybody? I hope. All right. As some of you may know, I write the nutrition column for every issue of Catster and Dogster magazine. I am not a veterinary nutritionist. I don't play one on TV either, but I am a seasoned journalist, 20 years as something called a daily newspaper reporter back in the day, went into publishing and some other things. So my goal is to find the best experts to give us the best advice. And that's what I want to do with y'all today. And mealtime is a big deal for cats. And before I began, I want to also give some gratitude to a brain trust that have helped me get the message out even better. Some of you should know these folks. We're talking Dr. Elizabeth Colleran. She is the past president of the American Association of Feline Practitioners. She operates a cat-only practice called the Chico Hospital for Cats in Chico, California. I've been there and studied with her, and I'm so grateful that the AAFP's website is catvets.com and not the American Association of Feline Practitioners. That is too much of a mouthful for us. Second, there's an amazing veterinary behaviorist by the name of Dr. Lisa Radasta. She operates the Florida Veterinary Behavior Service in West Palm Beach, Florida. She's one of the authors of the breakthrough book from Fearful, from the book by Dr. Marty Becker on Fear Free. She's a great person. Dr. Catherine Prim, she operates the Applebrook Animal Hospital in a very many vowel city in Tennessee called Ollulthway, Ollthway. Why I mention her is because she is the world's first fear-free certified professional, which you all know is about reducing fear, anxiety, and stress. And a fourth but not last is Dr. Liz Bales. You all know her. She's an inventor. She is a veterinarian. And at the end, Stacy, I did find the Doc and Phoebe Hunter and some other things that I do want to show to all of you to give you some ideas of some ways to get that kitty to eat food. So that's sort of what I wanted you to at least get a viewpoint of. Of course, I can't give this talk without my feline muses. Number one is pet safety cat Casey. This cat is a certified therapy cat. He never is at a loss for words. He helps me in teaching veterinary approved pet first aid classes and behavior. He's been to 13 states to give classes and talks with me by car and plane. No, always in the cabin, everybody. And we are heading out next week to teach 4 first aid classes with him and Pet Safety Dog Kona and a cat and dog behavior class in Omaha. We have 80 people lined up to take these classes over 4 days. So he is one busy kitty. His kid brother is, I humbly call him Feline Foodie Rusty. Many of you may know I adopted him from the renowned animal trainer Samantha Martin of the amazing Acrocats. I got him when he was about 7 months old, and he has been trained by her, clicker trained, luring, all the good stuff. But I did not realize he was quite a passion for food. We will get into that in a little bit. But they keep me on my toes or my paws, if you want to use that expression. And of course, I am a certified professional national speaker for Fear Free. We've had some mentions of that throughout our other speakers. And I can tell you from personal experience, it is a game changer. This way of reducing fear, anxiety, and stress really benefits a dog, a cat, physically, mentally, emotionally. It also helps us humans know how to better approach a pet. And I use it all the time in my pet first aid classes, and it makes it much easier to help rescue and render aid to a cat who's injured by using some of these fear-free methods. So let's just dive in. So this talk today is giving you a better understanding of what's going on around food and water and what's going on in that brain of the cat. I thoroughly enjoyed Pam's lead-off talk about, think like a cat, what's going on in the cat's mind, and then the pain topic with Tabitha, and then love play with Rachel. So I really enjoyed listening to all of your presentations. So what are we going to do today? So we're going to kind of give you an overview. What I'd like to do is we're going to talk about how cats perceive food, water, and meal time. We're going to divide it up by age groups: kittens, I call them the prime time players, adults, and senior cats. We're going to look at what, from the cat's viewpoint, what causes an appetite to wane, or what causes a cat to be a picky eater. We're going to identify how certain things come into play that do impact the cat's appetite, whether they're going to gorge the food, whether they're going to walk away from the bowl. And that can be dealing with stress, medical issues, and other things. I am going to talk about a few new medicines. I'm not a veterinarian. As I mentioned, I'm going to attribute that to the veterinarians who believe that these are some new medicines that boost appetites and also deal with pain. And we'll share those in this talk. There's some new types of treats that are out there that I think are really game changers. They fall into 2 categories: those lickable treats and what they call functional food treats. And we'll get into that. I want to talk about ways to boost the drinking in your cat, not alcohol. I'm talking water, and why it is so important for our cats to get adequate amounts of water in different ways every day. Because think about it, just like us, their cells need to be hydrated, and water is a powerful ally to a cat's health. Um, and I'm definitely opening up for questions. I will have a 2-page handout for everybody, but I wanted just to set the stage for that. So when you think about food for thought, look at this picture of this cat. Obviously, you guys can look at it and say, no, no, don't eat that, don't eat that, don't eat that. But the picture shows a party of one. And the reason for that is because cats, they're not social gatherers around a mealtime like we are. I'm betting many of you, if you are of this faith, are going to be having friends and family over to celebrate Easter tomorrow. You've got the table ready, the tablecloth, all the food, and all that. In the world of cats, they would prefer a table of one. They're not really big into eating next to one another. And that is really important. As I've mentioned before, if you have a multi-cat household like I do, and I'm sure many of you do, you never line up food bowls facing a wall and have them eat right next to one another. There is some silent smack talk going on that can cause stress in both the one being bullied as one as well as the one as the cat trying to get the food. So we'll talk more about that too. It's been said by all of our wonderful experts. Yes, cats are both prey and predator. They are hunters and they are hunted. This split in their brain, if you will, is very important to acknowledge because that's how they survive and that's how they thrive. And as Pam pointed out, they do beat us when it comes to the sense of smell and hearing. So, food next to noisy appliances or really awful smelling food or food that's a little bit too old, these are major turnoffs to the cat who is detecting it through their superior sense of smell. I mean, it just boils down to this, everyone. Whether you have 2 legs, 3 legs, or 4 legs, we really are what we eat. And I'm a firm believer that our cats need and deserve a quality diet that actually adjust to their ever changing health needs. I mean, no matter what age a cat is, feline to seniors, all cats need protein, specifically 11 essential amino acids. And so let's dive in for the youngsters. We need to eat our age. It is really important. And some of this you're like, I know this. But when you hear it again, I believe it sticks like wet pasta on a wall because repetition is the mother of all knowledge. So let's start with the little kitties and some things that might surprise you about the little bitty ones. Um, my cat, Rusty, is going to turn 4 years old later this month. But he was found as an orphaned kitty in a dumpster covered in fleas in Georgia by Samantha Martin of the Amazing Acrocats. So many of you have done and do bottle feeding of orphan kitties, and she did a wonderful job, and she saved his life. So I reached out to Rose Marie Crawford. I think many of you might know her. She's the co-founder of the National Kitten Coalition. And she offered a couple of bottle feeding tips that might be effective and for you to consider. She said, if a kitten starts to suckle from a bottle and then stops because actually a vacuum is being created, just loosen the bottle cap slightly to let a little of the air out around the threads of the screw-on bottle cap. And also make sure you support a kitten's head with a finger on each side of his cheek. That keeps him in the correct upright posture. And if the kitty is becoming a little wiggly or excited, you can actually gently groom the body using, you ready for it? A toothbrush. Because that feel of the toothbrush on the kitty's fur is mimicking the feel of his mama who was licking and helping the kitties to calm down and resume suckling on a bottle. So it's kind of a neat tip that I wanted to share. It goes without saying, cats, do not give them any cow's milk. Most cats are lactose intolerant. Um, and if you do need to give some human baby food to kind of boost their appetite, please read the label. It should not contain garlic, not onions, no raw eggs. There should be, it should be like a single protein. Um, I think the one of my experts really likes the beech nut one. It's a single protein to give. And keep this in mind. Look at that little kitten on the left. Crazy but true. A kitten triples, quadruples their weight in less than 6 months. Oh my gosh, can you imagine during COVID you tripled or quadrupled your weight? Woo! But this rapid weight gain is so critical for a kitten's survival. Because think about it, they come out of mama weighing just a few ounces, but by age 6 months, they should weigh between 5 and 6 pounds. Now, let's look at it this way too. A 10-week-old kitten who's active and healthy actually needs to eat more. In fact, twice the number of daily calories than a 10-month-old cat. So 10-week-old guys need to eat more than the 10-month-old guys. And also be aware that the young guys have a total different ratio of calcium and phosphorus than a senior cat who may be dealing with kidney issues. So getting into the kittenness in their first 6 months of age, this is where we could really help out this feline. And this is the time to introduce slowly and smartly different types of textures and flavors of food for the young kitten. I'm talking shreds, pate, whole meat, freeze-dried, vegetables, and more. It's very important to introduce what's called rotational feeding. The reason being, here is your opportunity to widen, expand the palate of a young growing kitten. Now, let's say that kitten gets sick and the kitten has to go to a veterinary hospital or be put on a prescription diet. When a cat has a more wide palate, they're more apt to accept new food and not go on a hunger strike. You've heard of this, the 3-3-3 rule. So when introducing new food, you should feed for the first 3 days 2/3 of the kitten's portion or any cat's with the current food and 1/3 of the new food. Then at day 4, 5, and 6, you can divide the portions so it's 1/2 the new food, 1/2 the current food. And by day 7, 8, and 9, you should go with 1/3 of their current food with 2/3 of the new food. And then you can slowly get the new food in. All right, so that's just some of the reviews of what we have in here, and this is also in more detail in your handout. So let's go to the guys that are prime time. We're talking the prime healthy adult cats. It goes without saying, everyone, their nutritional needs continue to change as they age. also factor in their health and their activity level. I am a big fan of taking my cats in every 6 months, not a year, every 6 months, and getting a wellness exam by my veterinarian. They are fear free certified at Casa Linda Animal Hospital in Dallas, where I am, because a lot can happen in 6 months to a cat, and you want to be catching it earlier than later. And work with your veterinarian, work with veterinary nutritionists to be able to make sure you're always adapting a cat's diet to what's going on with their health and activity level. Hey, you weigh yourself, so why not have your kitty be on the scale once a week and see if they're gaining or losing weight and report that to your veterinarian. We talked about the 333 rule when it comes to introducing new foods. For primetime cats, because of how they digest, it's recommended that you measure your portions and give them meals twice a day. This gives you a baseline, and this gives you information to give to your veterinarian about how much you're feeding, what you're feeding, in case the kitty is losing or gaining weight. I mean, I'm betting if your cat is gaining weight and you aren't giving them treats, maybe someone else in your household is, or jokingly, they have managed to grab your car keys, snuck into your car, drove to McDonald's at the drive-through and said, "Supersize me, please." I'm joking, but you should have a baseline about how much you're feeding and what. My cats get canned and dry food, and we have measuring spoons. They're in airtight containers that we keep clean, and we are trying to keep them at healthy weight. Um, with adult cats, when you aren't measuring the portions, they're at risk for becoming overweight or obese. And that puts them more at risk for chronic health conditions like diabetes, osteoarthritis, urinary tract issues, and skin diseases. We're going to delve into that more later in this talk. All of my pets, my 2 dogs and my 4 cats, again, we do measure in spoons and cups, and we don't know exactly how much they're getting. Now, let's turn to the seniors. I have 2 senior cats. Mikey is 18 years old, and Baxter is, we guess, 12 years old. He lived in our neighborhood for about 10 years. I have not lived in this neighborhood 10 years, but have been told this. And I think he was definitely dumped. And we were feeding him. The weather here in Dallas gets really nasty. And we made the decision because he would take walks with our dogs and he's very easygoing. We brought and slowly introduced Baxter to the furry Brady Bunch. So he's in the house now for 2 years, loving it. And Mikey is 18 years old, and he also came from the streets, but he was adopted at age 1. I noticed differences in their nutritional needs and how they're able to consume food. Think about it. Their ability to digest and absorb nutrients actually goes on the decline as they get older. My veterinary nutritionists tell me that 1/3 of all cats cannot absorb or digest protein as well at age 13 than they could at age 7. They also don't digest carbohydrates as well as when they were younger. So what's the message? We need to make sure that our senior cats have easy to digest nutrients, because digestive issues and health issues in these senior years, you know the list: kidneys, diabetes, obesity, hyperthyroidism, osteoarthritis. One of my friends who operates at the Humane Society of Missouri in St. Louis, whenever they're trying to adopt a senior cat, I love this label. They call senior cats certified pre-owned cats with 4-paw drive. And that has helped improve the adoption rate of senior cats. Be aware, and I know that Tabitha really delved into this, but between 80 to 90% of cats a decade or older do have some degree of osteoarthritis, but they don't like to show it because they don't want to be identified as prey, even inside a loving household. And Dr. Colleran shared this that I will share with you. When it comes to having pain in the limbs, she says that a dog has no problem limping when in pain, but most cats don't. They don't want to show outward pain. But a cat in pain, as we've said earlier today too, will sleep more, or they may groom less, or they may start hiding in places that they've never been in before. They can also develop thick nails because they're not able to scratch on the scratching post because of the pain in their joints. So there are some three ways I like to say to cater to these old cats. Um, Boost their brain power because without a doubt, cats of any age can learn and learn new tricks. There's indoor enrichments like food puzzles, cat furniture trees, feather wands. If you have the space, a catio. In my house in Dallas, we have a 15 by 10 area that's totally screened in. We have a TV, some chairs, cat trees, orthopedic beds for our dogs, and we call it our petio, Petio. And we all hang out there to watch TV on good nights. And you would be amazed at how great the cats are being able to see, smell, and hear the outdoors safely. The second way to cater to old cats, make sure you seek fresh, whole, and natural foods because the less processed, the better an older cat can digest and process the food. So you may be able to consult with your vet. Maybe a spoon of canned pumpkin contains stomach acid or temper other digestive issues. Please work with your veterinarian and choose supplements carefully. There's a lot. I just got back from the Global Pet Expo in Orlando, where there are so many booths with so many different things catering to dogs, cats, and other companion animals. The place is 7 football fields long at the Orlando Convention Center. It seemed like every third booth was something to deal with some sort of a supplement for a cat or a dog. Fish oils, be aware, they can vary in quality, but they do provide a great source of omega-3 fatty acids. And that's a big one for, especially for older cats, because that helps with inflammation. Antioxidants are really good for inflammation too. Probiotics can help in dealing with diarrhea, constipation, and digestive issues. Years ago, I worked at Rodale Press and I wrote herb books and other books. I worked with Prevention Magazine. And the one thing I learned is that it really does matter, everyone, how these supplements are sourced. Is there a third party tester of their products? Is there 800 line? And be aware that fish oil can vary in quality. So really be a good consumer of the label. So moving on from the seniors, this all gets down to what I'm trying to tell you, and that's to be a pet detective. Years ago, my newspaper editor told me, if your mother tells you she loves you, check it out. What does that mean? That means really be aware of the sources. Catvets.com, great source of information because there are board certified feline practitioners. Fear-free pets, of course. Let's talk about Balance It. It is run by board certified veterinary nutritionist. Let's see, what's another one? Balance It and petdiets.com. So I want you to do your homework and don't rely on Dr. Google. There are many reasons why cats may suddenly walk away from a food bowl. You think they're suddenly walking away from a food bowl, or they start gorging their food, or they're having being a little more fussy about what they're eating. The key is to be a pet detective and try to look for any signs and reasons why your cat is having some changes in their mealtime habits, because there's always a reason. The challenge for us is finding what that is. But if I could lump it into three categories, the first is medical. And as Tabitha was saying earlier, yes, and Pam, we really need to work closely with our veterinarians. I am not a veterinarian, and some reasons in changes in mealtime behavior could be due to an underlying medical cause. I mean, if you've ever had the flu, or you ever have been stressed from work, or you've had eaten a bad burrito and your stomach is churning, your appetite is not vigorous anymore. Um, some cats, through the years, can actually develop food allergies and become nauseated when they eat certain types of food. Or some cats may have trouble swallowing and keeping their food down and cause them to regurgitate. As we've said, cats are really good at hiding their pain. So changes in their habits. Rusty, my cat, snarfs the food down and he sometimes regurgitates quickly. And sorry, I know you're probably eating, and then he wants to eat it again. So we have learned to wetten his kibble and slow down and give him more mini meals a day. And that has helped reduce his gorging and regurgitation. Um, a big thing is urinary issues. And some of our previous speakers have talked about the litter box. Um, the ugly U to me in the feline universe is the U in urinary stones and urinary tract infections, because they're very painful and dangerous. They can be life-threatening. You know, the feline lower urinary tract disease, that can include bacterial or viral infection, stones, urinary blockages. There's a whole long list. There are some therapeutic diets on the market that are designed to address urinary issues. Again, consult your veterinarian. These therapeutic foods tend to be grain-free, low in magnesium, and they usually contain special minerals to help support urinary health. They also contain antioxidants and omega-3 fatty acids. What's showing up? If your cat might have some urinary issues, they may strain to urinate. They may have a frequent urgent urination. They may cry out in pain. Oh, I remember years ago, Casey had a urinary blockage. He walked into the litter box. He stood there and he did this sound. You know this sound. Ow, ow. And I looked and there was just a little bit of urine and there was a red dot in it, blood. Of course, it was a Sunday night. And I gathered Casey, I gathered the sample, and we went to the all-night ER clinic. They were able to manipulate his bladder on the table, and a stream of urine was released. They kept him overnight for monitoring. And I'll never forget what the veterinarian said in the morning. She said, "I am so glad you brought Casey in last night and did not wait until the morning, because had you done that, he may have been dead at age 4 of urine toxicity." As I teach in my Pet First Aid for You classes, it is always better to have a vet say to you, "Hey, thanks for coming in. Everything's good." then have a veterinarian say to you, why did you wait? Especially with our cats, because they don't really show a lot of bravado when they aren't feeling well. So in addition to medical causes, and we'll dive into this a little bit more later, the second thing that can change an appetite are emotional triggers. Maybe your cat is feeling threatened or scared by the arrival of a new pet. Or maybe your cat is being constantly bullied by another cat at mealtime. That's going to take a toll on that cat physically and psychologically, because there is a definite connection between the gut and the brain when it comes to handling stressful situations. And stressed out kitties, they can have diarrhea, they can have loss of appetite, they can hide. A third cause, and if you think about it, stress really can hit us really hard, a cat or a dog. Um, it it makes a negative impact on the levels of cortisol in the brain, and that does change the appetite, and that can cause physical issues like urinary tract issues or not able to keep food down. But we just have to do a better job of tuning in to some of the subtle changes the cats are showing. Um, in addition, separation anxiety can also cause cats to lose an appetite or boycott from food. The third area that could be lumped as a reason for changes in their appetite is what I call personal preferences. Some cats definitely have favorite foods and ones that they hope you never give them again because of the way the food tastes or smells or its texture. I mean, just to give you an example, 3 out of 4 of my cats just absolutely love the pureed pumpkin added to their bowls as a treat. But our black and white tuxedo boy, Tech Baxter, is like, no, 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 thank you. I mean, in your own home, I hate beets. I hate red onions. But I like yellow onions. Don't ask me why. And I like strawberries. Cats, like us, do have personal preferences. Um, we mentioned that a cat's age does play a role in their food fussiness. We need, again, to work hard as when they're kittens to broaden their palates, and because adults have formed their food opinions. And reminder, the senior cat's sense of smell and taste do fade with their advanced years, and they're dealing with some serious chronic medical conditions. And senior cats may not be able to jump onto an elevated surface to eat like they did when they were younger. So again, please book every 6 months if you can afford it, wellness exams. It's definitely worth it, the investment in your cat of any age, because you can catch things early. What's causing waning appetites and what can we do about it? Now, despite maybe you buying what you think is the most nutritious food on the market, despite giving your cat fresh water every day, despite the fact that you're giving interactive play sessions, you may feel a little confounded why your cat at mealtime will sniff the food and walk away. Or worse, even be a no-show at mealtime. Or you feel like your cat is turning into way too skinny of a kitty. Never, never dismiss any changes in your cat's behavior or appetite. Some of the causes of food avoidance we've mentioned: anxiety and stress, the physical impact of aging. Maybe your cat's nauseated and has a nauseated reaction to some new medications they're given. In our pet first aid class on Casey, we do a head to tail wellness check, right, Casey? He says, yeah, right, Casey? All right, and we look in his mouth because maybe he has a broken tooth or a dental issue that causes mouth pain that makes him not want to eat. We've mentioned diseases, diabetes, intestinal lymphoma, urinary tract infections, liver disease, kidney disease. They can all take a toll on an appetite. Maybe your curious cat is not eating because they ingested a foreign object that caused a stomach blockage. Maybe they got into a dental floss. Oh, worse, needle and thread. Or I don't know about you all, but I cannot tolerate seeing a picture of a kitten next to a ball of yarn. That's a linear choking hazard about to happen. I wish we could blip that from the screen. Your cat may also got into eating a poisonous plant in your house. Easter's tomorrow. I pray that none of you with cats have any Easter lilies. That will shut down a cat's kidneys faster than you may realize. The mere act of a cat licking water out of a pot containing an Easter lily can shut down a kidney. And this is not me talking. This is from my ER veterinarians that serve as my advisors. So take a look around. There may be something in your house that's poisonous. Maybe they're the stress factors, which we haven't mentioned, is maybe you have dogs in your household that are blocking access to the food or water bowls of your cats. So really pay attention to that. What can we do about it? So some solutions. I'm a big fan of making mealtime toned down because cats can feel stressed when all the pets are congregated in the kitchen while you're preparing all the food bowls. So why does it have to be this big gathering before the presentation of food bowls? My suggestion is to maybe put your cats and dogs in other rooms closed, keep busy toys, whatever, and sanely prepare their food and their bowls. And make sure that they're not fed right next to each other. In my household, 2 dogs, 4 cats, we have 2 cat trees in the living room. Mikey is 18, but still able to climb up, and he's on a sturdy ledge on cat tree A looking one way. Casey's on cat tree 2 on a ledge looking the opposite way. Crazy feline foodie Rusty is in the bathroom eating. Baxter's in the bedroom closed, and our 2 dogs, Kona and Casey, are each, Kona and Emma, have their bowls on opposite sides of the kitchen island. So it creates a visual barrier. If you have cats of different age, please give some respect to the senior cats. Keep those younger ones away from the senior cats because these guys will not eat well if they feel that they have to compete at mealtime. And they don't feel like they can defend themselves around the younger cats. And they just may give up and walk away when they really need this nutritional meal. All cats deserve to eat in safe places without other cats or other pets lurking around. Number 3, I actually hang out at mealtime because I do want to be there to step in and prevent a food bully from trying to steal another animal's food or to prevent a food fight. This staying around, it's worth the time, guys, because it allows you to visually see how much each of your pets are eating and to be able to report specifics to your veterinarian about if they're skipping a meal or if they're not eating all their food at mealtime. Number 4, resist the temptation to buy a whole bunch of different cat food in different forms and just putting it out there for the cat to decide. It's called the smorgasbord strategy. So if your cat walks away from a food, and you put all these out there, here's what's happening in the mind of the cat because they're hunters. They may be feeling associated feelings of nausea with what they've hunted and ate, and you risk your cat associating all these new types of food with the cat feeling nausea. So if your cat has a little problem with an appetite and you do the smorgasbord strategy, you're bombarding them, and then all these foods in all these different forms are going to be pegged as also maybe nausea causing types of food. So you don't want to do that. Number 5, consider temporarily giving your kitten or cat human baby food. Dr. Prim, she likes the beech nut stage 2 chicken flavored baby food to boost appetites. Now, keep in mind, it is not balanced, but it does contain 90% of water, and a lot of cats seem to like the texture of this baby food, and it's very, very easy for them to digest. You can, if your cat needs medicine, you can disguise crushed pills or liquid medicine in those lickable treats like churros and Heart's Delectables. You know, let the cat take a few licks and then add the medicine, and that might get a cat past the initial reluctance of taking medicine and to start eating. You can also, number 7, tempt these cats that seem to really like different textures with crunchy treats. And you can crush these treats into a powder and sprinkle it on top of their food to jumpstart a cat's appetite. Dr. Colleran has 2 cats in her home in California, Opie and Andy. We know where that reference is from. And she has used pulverized crunchy treats. She calls it chicken dust, and she puts it as a topper on top of the canned food, and it works. Opie and Andy are eating their meals. Number 8, you can create the right, safe environment for a cat at mealtime. You can enrich them by introducing food puzzles. We're going to show you a couple examples at the end when we take questions. Scheduling one-on-one play sessions, and making sure, as Pam mentioned, there is 1 litter box per cat plus 1 in various locations. So your cat can go potty in peace and not feel like they're going to get jumped. Number 9, double check the identity of your houseplants. We mentioned lilies are extremely deadly. So are philodendrons. They can cause stomach upsets, mouth irritations, difficulty swallowing. You all know this, the ASPCA Animal Control Hotline and website. Please review that regularly to make sure and check what you have in your house to make sure you have no poisonous plants to your cat. Number 10, ask your veterinarian about new ways to fight your cat's nausea. Some cats do develop nausea when they're taking some needed medications. So my experts wanted to share with you that there are some new appetite stimulants available to check with your veterinarian. One is called mirtazapine, Mirtazapine. It's actually a gel that you rub into a cat's ear to boost an appetite. Cerenia, Cerenia. It's a pill that you can crush and hide in liquid, lickable, or wet food, and it is noted for fending off nausea and vomiting. Now, for the older cats that are dealing with osteoarthritis and being in pain can impact an appetite, Dr. Colleran was mentioning a new medication for pain. It's called Solensia, Solensia. And here's the deal. It's given subcutaneously to treat chronic pain like osteoarthritis. And it's only needed monthly, a monthly injection. And you're like, I'm not giving an injection. No. You could make a visit to your vet, not a veterinary appointment, but with a vet tech for these monthly injections, and they control osteoarthritic pain. They enhance mobility, comfort, and well-being. It's an ultra short visit to the vet, like 5 minutes. It's painless. It's far better than having to give your cat liquids or pills every day for their arthritic pain. And you're not doing it. It's the vet or the vet tech doing it. So you don't have to worry about having to wrestle with your cat every day to give them pain medicine. So I want you to consider checking into those types of medicine. We can't do this talk without something that's near and dear to all cats, and that is give me a tea for treats. Casey's showing off a couple of his favorite treats, and you guys know it. You can say the word treat, you can spell the word, and the kitties will say, now, please, now, please. So for this part, I wanted to focus on a couple of newer types of treats out there. We're talking lickables and functional treats. So the lickables, you all know, they come in pouches. They're in tubes. They're in a wide range of flavors. But keep in mind, they do not contain all the essential nutrients a cat needs. The pros and cons. Cats love them, but they can be a bit pricey. They can be $2 to $3 a tube. You do need to make sure any unused portion is refrigerated, and it has only for a couple days, 2 or 3 days. The good news is it doesn't have a lot of calories. There's usually only about 5 or 6 calories per tube. But lickables are great to disguise medications. So you can crush a pill if it's safe to not ruin its efficacy and disguise it in a little line of a lickable, and your cat will just gobble it up. Now, the other type of treats that are coming out on the market are what we call functional treats. And these treats are designed to help with specific issues. One of the leaders in this research is Rebecca Rose. She's a biochemist and the founder of In Clover. She's conducted a 14-month palatability test on 3 key cat populations: discerning cats, shelter cats, and in-home cats. And she, from that results, formulated a new line of functional soft chews for cats. Some contain dandelion leaf, kelp, blueberries, and even green tea. They're focused on dental health, hairball combating, aiding nutritional needs of senior cats, and improving urinary tract health. There are some functional treats that contain coconut, which is thought to improve digestion and promote healthy skin and coats. Some contain honey for anti-inflammatory, antifungal powers. Some contain turmeric for allergy relief and digestion and to fight inflammation. And the dandelion root is for urinary and liver function. So I wanted you to kind of realize if you are getting a treat for your kitty, maybe step it up and get one that has a little bit more health power for your kitty. Big thing for cats before we finish this, and that has to deal with water. Adequate hydration is needed in all of us, including our kitties. Think about what water does. It helps with blood circulation. It transports oxygen and carbon dioxide throughout the body. It keeps the organs and the body systems hydrated and humming. It also ushers out body waste, regulates body temperature, and acts as a lubricant for joints. Kitties that don't drink enough water, it can really damage their kidneys. It can even trigger some seizures. Experts say that a 10-pound cat needs to drink 7 to 10 ounces of water a day to stay hydrated. So how are we going to do this? Well, I have some hydration tricks to share with you. 1, elevate the water bowl. Older cats are likely to have osteoarthritis and not be able to easily put a lot of weight on their forelimbs. So avoid them having the strain on their front legs as they would if they had to lean over a water bowl on the floor. 2, dish up canned food. It has a high water content. Canned food contains 70 to 80% water. 3, bring on the broth. You can buy or make bone broth. Just make sure when you do it, you do not put any onion, salt, or other seasoning. Bone broth boosts the immune system, aids in digestion, bolsters the flavor of the kibble, and supports the muscular skeletal system. It just offers a yummy way for cats to stay hydrated. 4, pour the water in wide bowls. Cats rely on their whiskers as sensory organs to alert them about what's going on around them. They don't like to have the feel of their whiskers scrunched up when they're trying to drink from a narrow water bowl. 5, pay attention to where you place the water bowl. Cats are very fussy and they do not like their water bowl next to their food bowl. They don't like to, they eat what they kill, and they try not to eat where the water sources are for fear of contamination. 6, disguise the water in something yummy. Renowned animal trainer Samantha Martin of the amazing Acro Cats, before every performance, she boils chicken breast in water for treats for her circus cats, and the chicken water is added for hydration and nutrition. 7, choose the right type of water bowls. Consider those made from ceramic, stainless steel, glass, or stoneware, because they clean easily and do not retain odors. Avoid plastic bowls and replace any bowls with scratches or nicks. 8, consider a drinking fountain that is with your cat's level of commitment in mind. Now remember, cats hear better than we do. So if you hear the pet drinking fountain gurgling, then the noise is like a scream to cats and may cause some of them to avoid the fountain. So select fountains that can be easily cleaned in a dishwasher, that are quiet. You want to be cleaning it regularly to avoid any mold or mildew. You also maybe opt for a fountain with a washable filter, so you don't have to keep on a schedule and buy filters all the time. Place the pet water fountain in your cat's favorite hangout area of the house, again, away from the food bowl. 9, introduce a novel liquid. Some cats really like bottled clam juice, yuck, or opt for water-based tuna. Put the water from a can of tuna mixed with purified bottled water in a sealed container in your refrigerator, and you can add it to their meals. 10, up the appeal of a catio. Maybe placing a fresh bowl of water in your enclosed catio every day, it can entice a cat to drink while they're safely getting to look, listen, and smell the great outdoors. I got to do this. April is Pet First Aid Awareness Month. I am busier than busy. I'm teaching several classes all over, in person and in Zoom. But as my boys, Rusty and Casey, say, one of the best things you can do as a gift for your dog or cat is to learn pet first aid and what to do when happens, how to render aid on the scene, and how to safely transport. To me, it's one of the best gifts you can ever give a dog or a cat. We're going to field some questions, and I also wanted to share, yep, my last name is Moore, and there's a lot of ways to follow me. I'm asking a super favor to all of you. If you would, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel. We have nearly 500 videos. I interview some of the best people in the world of pets. There's a lot of safety videos on there. And there's my Kona and my Casey. So I want to make sure. And oh, you found Casey. All right.
And you gave Casey's got a left ear tip in the card.
No, that was cropping.
I know.
We do have 2 cats in our household that came from that have left ear tips, Mikey and Baxter. Everybody, and don't worry, I'm plugging for her because she's a veterinarian and an inventor. I don't have any compensation. But if you haven't been familiar with the Doc and Phoebe, what I like about this feeder is, notice that you can put treats or kibble in here, and you can make the hole bigger or smaller to make it more challenging for the kitty. And then she also makes this thing called the wet feeder. And it's really good if you have a cat that really gorges food because you can really mush it down in there. It's like the feline version of a slow feeder for dogs. And it is machine washable. You can also kind of put it somewhere and have the cat hunt and find it. This is one of the many liquidable treats. I met the people at Global that make the churros, and I am going next week to teach 80 people in pet first aid in Omaha, and every one of them is getting a churro. Well, their cats are. So it's really expensive, but yum. So I'm ready for any questions you want, but I also wanted to thank you all for hanging out. I'm the last one of the day. Casey, what do you think? I think they're okay. Okay.
Yeah, lots
we
of
do
questions.
Have a 2-page handout, so you know.
Lots of questions for you here. A couple questions around: is there a way to reverse a lack of bite in a cat who was poorly socialized?
What was the question?
Is there a way to reverse a lack of bite in a cat who was poorly socialized?
A lack of a bite. What do you mean?
I was, when I first read this, I was thinking it was around sort of pica and that kind of thing, but maybe lack of a bite in a cat who's poorly. Maybe Mary, if you're still on, if you want to add a little bit more clarity on the question.
Yeah.
Because she's
pica,
also asking later, what can be a way to deter pica actions? She has a cat that tries to eat everything.
Yeah, and it typically they don't know why, but any cats that are like Siamese or that lineage are more prone to it, and it starts showing up when they're about 1 or 2. Plastic eating is a big one that confounds people, but the reason is that our cats have such a superior sense of smell that they actually smell the animal protein being used in the making of that plastic. And so they think they're eating a plastic cow. That's how I put it. But the pica can be really dangerous. I had a Siamese cat named Corky, the one that would swim with us growing up. I had this beautiful wool sweater vest, and he chewed a hole the size of a cannonball in it. And I was the third of 3 girls, so that was my first non-hand-me-down. I'm like, really? You had to pick that? But I should have been more worried about the obstruction in his stomach, but I was only 8 years old. But I'm saying be very careful, because if they're eating wool and things like that, they could have a medical emergency and need to go to the vet. And I don't have an answer for why some cats are, except there seems to be a genetic component. But this is why we become better housekeepers when we have cats.
What should we look for in a quality fish oil?
What's that?
What should we look for in a quality fish oil?
I want a third party to tout it. I want to know how it was sourced and where it was sourced. And what is the storage instructions, because you can really muck up the efficacy of fish oil if you're keeping it on a counter by a sunny window or some other place. So the more information they give, the better. There is the battle about farm raised versus fresh sourced, but I mean, I don't want to get into CBD and all that, but there's the same plant can be grown in different locations with different kinds of levels of care, and the efficacy could be night and day. So the places that have nothing to hide, I'm speaking as an ex-newspaper reporter, share more information, how they prepare it, and they're willing to have any kind of quality seal of approval from a third party organization. So that's how I would do it. And they have an 800 number, so you can call to ask questions.
Several people asked earlier in your presentation, you referenced a couple of sites for food info, a couple of websites. Yes. I don't know if you can re-mention those.
Petdiets.com which is operated by Rebecca Remillard. She's the past president of the American Academy of Veterinary Nutritionists. And BalanceIt.com, which is run by Dr. Sean, Mahoney. He's also a veterinary nutritionist. Neither one of them are representing a pet food company. So they're there to handle questions on homemade diets, commercial diets. We have to say therapeutic diets instead of prescription diets. But I direct them to them because they're the ones who know.
Super. Is grain-free food healthier for cats as compared to food with wheat, corn, etc.?
The jury's out on that. I mean, when I ask the veterinary nutritionist, I get answers on both sides. Grain is not a criminal. What is really bad is corn, because corn is harder to digest, and too much corn in a diet can lead to a cat becoming diabetic because it turns to sugar. I'll give you a real example. I'm not mentioning the brand. My brother got a cat named Sheffield because he loves the Chicago Cubs and they play on Sheffield and Waverly for all you baseball fans. And I saw Sheffield when Sheffield was 1 year old. I saw Sheffield when Sheffield was 2 years old because my brother lives in DC, and Sheffy looked like a hairy ottoman. And I'm like, Kevin, what are you feeding your cat? He showed me a brand. We all know. The first ingredient on the label, everyone, corn. The first ingredient for a cat obviously needs to be a recognized protein: chicken, salmon, turkey. I've also seen a thing called ingredient splitting, where a not very good company will say chicken, then they'll say corn, then they'll say maize, M-A-I-Z-E. Come on, guys, that's corn. Then they'll say corn oil. So the second, third, and fourth ingredient are really just corn. You add them up together and they're more than the protein. Shame on you.
Questions about your cat first aid classes on Zoom. Are you still teaching those on Zoom? And would we find it on your pet first aid website?
Yes and no. I am teaching them, but I have suddenly become so popular that I offer one public Zoom class a month, which is dog and cat. And then off the books are tons of companies and groups like you all who reach out to me and say, we got 10 or 15 people. We want a class on cat first aid and safety. Can we work it out? And I say yes. So I am teaching a bunch of Cocker Spaniels later this month with Carol Bryant. And I'm teaching a bunch of cat lovers who are professional pet sitters from the Massachusetts area in, I think, June 3rd. I'm going to Omaha to teach 80 people. So my thing is this: I welcome any of you. If you can get a group of people together, we've done that with Stacy. The cat first aid only is a 3-hour course. It's live, it's interactive. You can have your kitties. You'll see Casey and Rusty. It is a vet-approved class. You get a 2-year certificate, and you have my bad jokes. If you have dogs and cats, it's a 4.5-hour class. Everyone gets detailed course books, handouts, and I have a sheet of some of my safety videos that you can look at. So to answer your question, my site doesn't have all these course classes because I'm getting more people reaching me and saying, we want to put together a group. Can we do it at this date? So guys, get together and let's do it, because the more we can protect our cats and dogs. I mean, I got to tell you, I am not rich. I am enriched. And if you go on my site right now, there's about 12 testimonials from people saying I saved their pet's life because they did what they learned in class. I think I can go to heaven okay. I don't want to go right now.
What are your thoughts on having
reason why?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on having food and water available for cats to eat and drink as they desire?
If you have one cat and only one cat in your household, sure, because you'll know what they finished in a day. But if you have more than one cat or a dog and a cat, you will never know who ate what. And I'm a big fan of baselines and knowing what they get. And I also supervise meal times. So answer, not a fan. Casey would like food all the time. I would like food every day, all the time.
Okay. Looking here. Let's see, making sure we've got all the questions. There's just one more of a comment going backwards here.
Okay.
Go over backwards here. But Jennifer is saying she loves your cat behavior answer book.
Oh, thanks.
So she totally loves it. And then I think there was a response looking for like CPR in that there's very little like CPR for, I think she was saying neonates. The comment disappeared. So I think Kristen must have responded.
Oh, if I know in your group that you want to focus on that, because we did do that with some folks that were bottle feeding the itty bitty kitty brigade. We taught them in kitty first aid. So we did adapt to the needs of the neonates and talk about that in the class. So if you have a specific type of group of cats and you want me to cater to that, I'm ready to do it. So yes, we've done that. We show how to do kitty CPR on a neonate, and it's so much different than on a Great Pyrenees.
We're going back to the lack of bite. So the person was clarifying. She said she does not open her mouth properly to eat. She takes very small bites, and I'm still not sure.
Well, that definitely needs to be looked at medically first, because maybe there's something wrong with the jaw. Maybe there's some cartilage or something that's impeding. I hate to say that because cats are so like, I'm fine. There could be something blocking partially the airway. There could be a tumor or a mass or something, but I would definitely get it checked out by your veterinarian, because Casey has a big mouth and he opens wide. And your cat, if they're having trouble completely opening their jaw, that will impact their eating. So I wish the best for your kitty.
So there are definitely folks still interested in finding out where's Arden going to be. So just reach out through Arden's website if there's anything you want to check out from an in-person level. Yes, let's do some kitty cat show and tell.
Everybody. Here is Rusty the performer. He goes, just give me the food.
So what's the difference? So Rusty doesn't have white paws and Casey does, right?
Yeah, Rusty is smaller and slimmer. And check this out. This is Casey's favorite way to be held. Let's go, baby. Ready? There we go. Meow. He's a little bigger.
Likes to be all stretched out.
Yeah.
Wow, look at that.
So, and you guys got your fur fix, right?
Yeah.
Come here, Kona. Come here. Here's Kona and Emma. We got dogs that love cats. Here's dogs that love cats.
I know you had quite a few like lists when you went through on your slides, and just if folks are interested, we can do a transcript, so we can send you that.
Yeah, and in the handout,
and you have the handout.
Let me make sure my handout. I did list the ways to get 10 ways to get hydration.
Great.
I did list the 8 ways to reduce stress at mealtime.
Yep.
So there's some of that's in the handout.
Awesome. Well, Arden, I want to thank you so much. I think we might have a few minutes for a few final closing bits. Any final questions from the audience? Looks like I think we've got everybody covered here. I think I've got everything. Yep. I'm not seeing. Oh, okay. Donna, we'll make sure we have that in the handouts. We'll just do a double check. Kristen can do it. So the handouts are in the handout section on the go-to webinar control panel. If for some reason your go-to webinar control panel is not showing handouts, just email me and I will send them to you, Stacy@communitycatspodcast.com. So a couple people are taking this moment to download the last few handouts. Looks good here. So excellent. So we're looking good. So everybody, you're going to be receiving a survey. So please take the time to fill that out. And I also want to do a final little shout out quickly to our sponsors, to the Ryan Animal Rescue Foundation, Cat News Headlines, as well as Dubert.com. I want to say thank you to all of them. Doug Hines, he's doing a lot of work reporting and covering, and anytime there is an alert or review comes out about food, he tries to get that posted up on his website too. So we'll do that. And okay, so people are saying they don't see Arden's handout, so we'll make sure we get that out to everybody on there. So Kristen can double check and reach out. You guys can talk about that, and I can make sure I get it in my handout package. So we're all good on that.
I'm sorry to
And I can resend it if she doesn't have it. I thought I did send it, but I can resend it. Just let me know.
Guys, hang on a second. It's in there. All the handouts are combined into one document. We only have the option to put a few in there. So all of the slides, with the exception of Pam Johnson Bennett's, because she does not share her slides as a PDF. Those are all going to be in that slides PDF, and then the handouts for each of the speakers that provided them are in that handouts document. So they're all combined. They're all there. Just scroll down and you guys will find it. So yeah, scroll.
So that would be in Pam's doc, because Pam did a handout too.
Yep,
so
Pam
it would be in that
handout.
doc, that Arden's handout. Yeah. So that would be
It doesn't say
say
Arden. It should say handouts, and they should all be in there.
Yep.
So nobody's is separate.
Cool.
They're all together.
All right.
Awesome.
So
Thank you, Kristen,
download that.
as always. Yep. There you go. Okay. Maeve, yes. Whitney, yes. Dale, they're seeing it in the combined. We're all set. All good. Yeah. Doug Hines is the editor of Cat News Headlines and is a sponsor for today's event. I'm just double checking all the questions here. I think that today's session, wow, I don't know about y'all, but my brain's busting. So
Mine too.
It was great. Yeah, Arden, you've been on all day listening too. From your expert opinion, how did you think the information was in the day?
I learned new things, and I love the different topics, and I think we could always learn more about cats. In the minute we all say that we know everything about cats, don't ever invite us to speak again. And it's a great time to be a cat, everybody. It is a great time to be a cat because we're finally recognizing them. I mean, I went to Global, hung out with Nathan the Cat Lady and Sterling Trap King Davis. They got a lot of attention, and a lot of people are recognizing just how great cats are. Millennials are like, you better have a first aid class. You better be licensed and bonded if you're my pet sitter. So there's more people realizing just how wonderful cats are to us. They make us better humans. I mean, I love Casey. I mean, I love Kona and Emma. They're my dogs. But when people say, and I think my cat loves me too, that's the best compliment you could ever get.
Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I really hope that the status of cats is being elevated around the country. I hear folks are becoming more accepting of trap neuter return and community cat programs, and I hope that we're all part of trying to get that word spread out there in, on the radio stations and in the podcasts and out in the general public, so that we're really able to support cats in the community and really create solutions that will help our cats, and so I want to thank you, Arden. I am all